On the evening of August 20, 1911, it was almost closing time at the Louvre Museum in Paris when a short man with a mustache entered the museum. As soon as closing time came, all the visitors left the museum, but without anyone noticing. That man hid himself in a corner and spent the entire night there. As soon as morning came, he very cleverly reached the area of the museum where many popular paintings were hanging on the walls. He looked to the right and left. There was no one there. Seeing the right moment, he took a painting off the wall, wrapped it in a white cloth, and walked out of the museum, disappearing somewhere into the crowd of the city. That man had very easily carried out the biggest art heist of the century. The painting he stole was called Mona Lisa, which at that time was about 400 years old and had been the center of attraction in the museum for more than 100 years. Although the Mona Lisa was a very precious and special painting, in those 400 years it had never become as popular as it did just 2 days after this theft. The Mona Lisa became so famous all over the world that even a person who had no interest in paintings at all came to know its name. But after all, who was that short man with a mustache who escaped with the world's most famous painting from the world's biggest and France's most secure museum? And the most important question, what is so special in this painting that, while the Emperor of France, Napoleon, used to hang it in his bedroom, an artist became so crazy about Mona Lisa's mysterious smile that he jumped from a hotel roof and ended his life?
The Mona Lisa was placed in the Louvre Museum in Paris in 1706. Then, in 1911, the painting disappeared without a trace or a clue. Newspapers offered rewards for its return. Official investigations were launched by the Paris police and the French government.
To know the story of the Mona Lisa, we have to go back almost 500 years, to the 16th century when this painting was created. The person who made the Mona Lisa was named Leonardo da Vinci, who was from Italy. Leonardo da Vinci was a genius and an extremely multi-talented person. He was a writer, painter, inventor, architect, sculptor, engineer, mathematician, astronomer, and zoologist, an expert in more than a dozen professions. Every piece of his work was filled with curiosity. He had a deep desire to do everything with perfection. Leonardo da Vinci was such an experimental person that he looked at things in technology and arts from a completely different perspective and did all his work in a very unique way. After creating many amazing paintings like Lady with an Ermine, The Last Supper, and The Virgin of the Rocks, Leonardo started working on a new painting in the year 1503. This painting work was given to him by an Italian silk merchant named Francesco del Giocondo, who wanted Leonardo to make a painting of his wife, Lisa del Giocondo. Leonardo began painting del Giocondo's wife in October 1503, and the painting was named Mona Lisa after that woman. Mona is an Italian word which means madam or my lady. Like every other work of his, Leonardo devoted himself completely to making this painting. He kept working on it with great detail for 4 long years, but still the painting did not get completed. Even then, he did not achieve the level of perfection he wanted. Due to some reason, he left the painting unfinished in the middle. Later, when in 1516, the Emperor of France invited Leonardo da Vinci to come to France, he took that unfinished painting with him. Work on the painting started again in France. But in 1517, Leonardo's right hand became paralyzed, and 2 years later, in 1519, he died. Because of this, the Mona Lisa was never completed. It is a surprising fact that the world's most famous painting is actually incomplete. But such was Leonardo da Vinci's unmatched artistry that even in his unfinished work, there was a different kind of perfection. His incomplete painting attracted the King of France so much that after Leonardo's death, he made it a part of his royal collection. For almost 250 years, the Mona Lisa continued to grace the palaces of the French kings. But after the French Revolution, when Napoleon came to power and his eyes fell upon the Mona Lisa, he became its admirer, and in 1800 he had it placed in his bedroom. After staying in Napoleon's bedroom for 4 years, in 1804, the Mona Lisa was placed in the Grand Gallery of the museum. The museum is not only the biggest in France, but the largest in the world. It has always been a center of attraction for tourists from all over the world. After coming to the museum, anyone could see the Mona Lisa. But surprisingly, for decades, the number of people visiting her remained very small. Very few people knew about the Mona Lisa. Only those people saw it, who were either artists themselves or great art lovers. Where many art critics did not like the Mona Lisa at all, there were some people who could stare at it for hours and never got tired of praising Leonardo da Vinci. For them, even though the Mona Lisa was incomplete, it did not feel incomplete. Leonardo had used more than 30 layers to create this painting. Some layers were even thinner than human hair. The painting looks large, But in reality, it is only 30 by 21 inches, and it weighs 8 kilograms. It was not painted on paper or canvas, but on a poplar wood panel using oil paint. The most special thing about this painting is Mona Lisa's mysterious smile, which countless people have fallen in love with. At first glance, Mona Lisa appears to be smiling slightly, but when you keep looking at her for a long time, that smile slowly starts disappearing. Because of this mysterious smile of the Mona Lisa, a French artist named Luc Maspero became so obsessed that on 23 June 1852, he jumped from the roof of a hotel in Paris and ended his life. In his final note, he mentioned Mona Lisa's smile as the reason behind his suicide. Slowly, more than 100 years passed while the Mona Lisa stayed in the museum. Even after so much time, mostly only people connected with the art world knew about it. For the public, the Mona Lisa was just like any other common painting. People had never really looked at it with proper attention. But in 1911, everything was about to change, and the man who was going to change it was named Vincenzo Peruggia. Peruggia was from Italy, and he was always troubled by the thought that when Mona Lisa was a painting of an Italian lady and it was made by an Italian artist, then by what right was France keeping it as its property? After this, he decided that he would bring the Mona Lisa back from France to Italy. With this plan in mind, he came from Italy to Paris in 1908 and started working in the museum. His job there was to clean paintings, reframe them, and sometimes to make strong protective cases for them. Once, when the Mona Lisa's box frame was being prepared, Peruggia was also part of the team making it. Because of this, he also knew how that extremely complex frame could be opened within a few minutes. After learning every single corner, every passage, and every small security detail of the Louvre Museum, Vincenzo Peruggia left his job. After quitting, he started planning the theft of the Mona Lisa based on his work experience. For a long time, he carefully thought through every single point. After the entire plan was ready, on the evening of Sunday, 20 August 1911, he entered the museum. Inside the museum, he walked toward the Salon Carré, where many paintings were kept, but his eyes were only on the Mona Lisa. He moved closer to the Mona Lisa, looked at it with a slight smile, but the next moment he stepped back. He did not want to steal it yet, because there were people around, there was security, and he could be caught. His plan was to hide inside the museum for the whole night, and then steal the Mona Lisa on Monday morning. On Mondays, the museum used to remain closed for visitors due to maintenance, so the security was also going to be very limited. And for Peruggia, this was the perfect chance. Because he had already worked there, he knew every inch of the museum very well. That is why he chose a storage closet as his hiding place for the night, where there was almost no chance of anyone coming. As soon as morning came, he came out wearing a white apron, which was the uniform of museum employees. After that, very cautiously and quickly, he reached the Salon Carré, took the Mona Lisa down from the wall, removed it from its glass frame, and wrapped it in a white cloth. Then he went down the stairs carrying the Mona Lisa and reached the door. But when he tried to open the door handle, it wouldn't open. The door was locked. So even after trying again and again, the door did not open. Wrinkles appeared on his forehead. Fear filled his heart, and the terror of being caught became clearly visible in his eyes. His panic increased even more when a plumber from the museum arrived there. The fear of being caught began to overpower him. Somehow he controlled his expressions. He finally breathed in relief when the plumber, seeing his white dress, mistook him for a museum worker and helped him open the gate. After this, Vincenzo Peruggia thanked him and very easily walked out of the museum with the Mona Lisa. For 24 hours, nobody even realized that the Mona Lisa had been stolen. Paintings were often removed in the museum for cleaning or photography, so nobody paid attention to the empty space where the Mona Lisa had been. On Tuesday afternoon, when a famous painter named Louis Béroud came to the Louvre Museum to make a copy of the Mona Lisa, he saw that in place of the painting, there were only 4 nails and a layer of dust between them. After that, every single employee in the museum started searching for the Mona Lisa. But even after checking every corner, it could not be found. Until that time, the Mona Lisa was not extremely famous among the general public, but art lovers and painters were great admirers of it. The next day, the New York Times also published this incident on its front page, because of which the Mona Lisa became a topic of discussion for people all over the world. Even those who had no interest in paintings at all now knew about the Mona Lisa. People's anger also turned toward the museum director, and he was removed from his position for his negligence. Everyone had only one question in their mind: where and with whom did Leonardo's Mona Lisa, which for the past 100 years had been sitting quietly in one place with her mysterious smile, suddenly disappear? To find the answer to this question, along with the police, France's biggest detectives were also involved. Inside the museum, Mona Lisa's glass plate and frame were found. To solve the case, the famous fingerprint specialist Alphonse Bertillon was called. He found the thief's thumbprint on the glass, but despite many efforts, the thumbprint did not match anyone in the police records. The police began questioning guards and employees. From the interrogation, it was only discovered that the theft had taken place between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on Monday. But apart from this, no solid clue about the thief could be found. Newspapers announced a huge reward for anyone who could find the Mona Lisa. As the investigation moved forward, the police arrested and questioned hundreds of people on suspicion. Among those arrested was a famous poet and playwright named Guillaume Apollinaire. Apollinaire had once talked about burning down the Louvre museum. His secretary had also stolen 2 ancient statues from the Louvre, which made the police suspicious of him. But when he was interrogated, he declared himself innocent and claimed that there was another person behind this theft, a name whose revelation could shock the entire world. Guillaume Apollinaire took the name of none other than his close friend and the world-famous painter Pablo Picasso. Apart from Apollinaire, there was another man who took Picasso's name. That man wrote a letter to the police stating that he himself had stolen some statues from the Louvre Museum and sold them to Picasso, which Picasso had even used in his paintings. At first, this claim seemed strange to the police, but when the serial numbers of the stolen statues were checked, the museum management confirmed that the statues were indeed from their collection. After this, Picasso was arrested and taken in for questioning. Picasso was interrogated for a long time, but due to lack of evidence, both Apollinaire and Pablo Picasso were released. During this time, the police also began suspecting another popular figure, J.P. Morgan, who was not only an American banker but also a very big art lover. He had a great passion for collecting rare and extraordinary items. At that time, art forgery, meaning making fake paintings and selling them to rich Americans, was a very big business. Because of this, a rumor spread that the Mona Lisa had been stolen on J.P. Morgan's orders and that the thief would surely try to deliver the painting to him. Based on this suspicion, a ship traveling from France to America was stopped by the American police and searched thoroughly, but the painting was not found there either. In this way, new angles related to the theft kept coming out. But in reality, everyone was far away from the truth. The public was restless about the case, and investigators were exhausted after repeated attempts. Weeks passed, then months, and before anyone realized it, 2 years went by, but there was still no trace of where in the world the Mona Lisa was, along with her mysterious smile. While the Mona Lisa was being searched for from France to America, in 1913, art collector Hugh Blaker saw a painting hanging in a house in Somerset. In this painting was none other than Lisa del Giocondo, the lady of the Mona Lisa. Surprisingly, this painting was not a copy version of the Mona Lisa, but an earlier version of it. It is believed that Leonardo da Vinci worked on 2 similar paintings. He first made this one as a trial and later started working on the Mona Lisa that is in the museum. According to many claims, it is also believed that Leonardo da Vinci himself painted Lisa's face and hands in this painting, while the background was painted by one of his assistants. Despite being a painting of the same lady, this painting is different from the Mona Lisa in many ways. It is 3.5 inches taller and 5 inches wider than the Mona Lisa. It was not painted on wood like the Mona Lisa, but on canvas. It was truly astonishing that while the Mona Lisa stolen from the museum was making headlines in newspapers all over the world, and the French police had been searching day and night for 2 years, another Mona Lisa was suddenly discovered unknowingly. However, the Mona Lisa that had been stolen from the museum was still nowhere to be found. It was being searched for all over the world, while in reality, the Mona Lisa was hidden in a small apartment just 2 miles away from the museum. In that apartment lived the very man who had stolen the Mona Lisa from the museum. After stealing the Mona Lisa, Peruggia went straight to his apartment. Once home, he hid the painting inside a special wooden trunk beneath the false floor. The surprising thing was that Peruggia already had a criminal record, and his fingerprints were also present in police records. But the system only had fingerprints of his right hand, whereas the print found on the Mona Lisa's frame was from his left hand. Because of this, the police found no match. Even so, during the investigation, the police raided Peruggia's house twice, but due to his cleverness, they recovered nothing. While searching his house, it never even crossed their minds that the Mona Lisa was hidden right under their noses. Peruggia had carried out the theft in an extremely simple manner. In the same way, he managed to escape easily, even while standing right in front of the police. After keeping the painting with himself for 2 years, his impatience started increasing. When he stole the Mona Lisa, his plan was to take it to Italy. But after the theft, the case had become huge, and searches were being conducted in every corner of France. Because of the fear of being caught, he somehow kept the painting quietly in his apartment for 2 years. But as time passed, his restlessness grew. He wanted to hand it over to someone and finally get rid of it. That is why, in December 1913, he wrote a letter to an Italian art dealer named Alfredo Geri. In the letter, he wrote that the stolen painting by Leonardo da Vinci was with him. He said that this painting should not be in a French museum, but in Italy's Uffizi gallery, because the artist who made it was Italian. At the bottom of the letter, he signed his name as Leonardo. After reading the letter, Alfredo became very curious. He discussed the matter with the gallery director Giovanni Poggi, and then replied to the letter, inviting Peruggia to come to Florence, Italy. After this, somehow managing to avoid suspicion, Peruggia brought the Mona Lisa with him to Florence and stayed in a hotel there. On 10 December 1913, he went to Alfredo Geri's office and told him that he was Leonardo Vincenzo, the person who had written the letter about the Mona Lisa. He made a deal with Alfredo, saying that he would give him the Mona Lisa, but in return he wanted $650,000. Alfredo Geri acted very cleverly. He told him that he would get his money. But before that, he and the Uffizi gallery director Giovanni Poggi wanted to confirm whether the painting he had was the original Mona Lisa. The next day, on 11 December 1913, Alfredo Geri and Giovanni Poggi reached Peruggia's hotel room to meet him. As soon as they arrived, Alfredo asked Peruggia about the painting. Peruggia was very nervous. He took out his wooden trunk from under the bed, placed it on the bed, and removed the clothes from it. Beneath the clothes, there was a hidden compartment. From inside it, he took out the painting. When Alfredo, Geri, and Giovanni Poggi saw the painting, they could not believe their eyes. The real Mona Lisa was right in front of them. Seeing their expressions, Peruggia felt sure that they were convinced the painting was original. So he stood up and asked for his money in exchange for the painting. Alfredo assured him that he would get his money very soon. After this, Alfredo Geri and Giovanni Poggi left the hotel with the Mona Lisa. Shortly after they left, there was another knock on Vincenzo Peruggia's door. He thought that a suitcase full of money had arrived for him. But when he opened the door, it was the police, standing there with handcuffs for him. Before coming there, Alfredo Geri and Giovanni Poggi had already informed the police about everything. The police immediately arrested Peruggia. After this, Peruggia was tried for theft in an Italian court. In his testimony, he said that he had done this out of national pride, because he believed that during Napoleon's time, the Mona Lisa had been looted from Italy. But he was wrong, because Leonardo da Vinci himself brought the painting to France in 1516, and according to one claim, King Francis I had legally purchased it from Leonardo. Peruggia was found guilty of theft and was sentenced to 1 year and 15 days in prison. But because he had brought the Mona Lisa back to Italy, he became a hero among the Italian people. Due to continuous public appeals, he was released after just 7 months. After the Mona Lisa was recovered, it was displayed in several major cities of Italy for many days. And finally, in January 1914, the Mona Lisa was returned to the Louvre Museum. When the Mona Lisa was placed back in the museum, within just the first 2 days, 20,000 people from within the country and abroad came only to see the Mona Lisa. Its popularity kept increasing with every passing day, and cartoons, advertisements, postcards, songs, and documentaries started being made in its name.